Are you concerned with Microsoft ending support for Windows 10 in October 2025? Or are you having trouble with Windows 11 updates? If you answered yes to either of the above questions, it may be worth considering switching to Linux and breathing new life into your older computer. In this video, I'll guide you through a step-by-step process to prepare yourself for switching to Linux, rather than jumping in head first. The trick is to adapt cross-platform software whenever possible. This makes it much easier to switch from Windows to Linux. The reason why many people fail to switch over is because they have a dependence on specific software. For example, if you use Adobe Premiere as a video editor, you will struggle if you jump into a Linux distro, as you'll find yourself frustrated as you cannot use Premiere in Linux. You may think, but I can run this in Wine. Unfortunately, this is not possible. A better solution would be to switch to a different video editor that you know runs on Linux while you're still using Windows. By slowly adopting software that runs on both Linux and Windows, once you're ready to switch, the switch itself will be much less stressful. Let's look at some alternative tools that run on both Windows and Linux. For video editing, you have Kdenlive, Shotcut, which I'm currently using for editing this video, OpenShot for absolute beginners, and DaVinci Resolve for professional video editing. Note that all four of these options are completely cross-platform and completely free. For software development, I needed a Visual Studio alternative, as I'm a software developer. Visual Studio Code is one of the alternatives. It's lightweight, very powerful with its plugins, but note that not all plugins work on every platform, but Visual Studio Code is a solid choice for a lightweight IDE. If you need something a little bit more powerful, I'm a C# developer and I use JetBrains Rider for C# development, and I use this daily. Note that the JetBrains tools are commercial options and you'll need to pay for these. For photo editing, I use Pinter, as I don't want or need something as complicated or GIMP or Photoshop, and you'll find it's very similar to Paint.net. If you do need something more powerful, you can use GIMP, which apparently stands for GNU Image Manipulation Program, and it's quite popular as a Photoshop alternative. However, note that it has a very different workflow to Photoshop. When it comes to email, for work, I just use the web version of Outlook, and for personal, I use the web version of Gmail, and it served me well for many years. If you're looking for an email desktop client, Thunderbird is a very good candidate if you don't like webmail. I use spreadsheets very frequently, and as you may know, Microsoft Excel doesn't run natively on Linux. Here are some alternatives to Microsoft Excel. LibreOffice Calc, which is part of the LibreOffice suite, WPS Office, Spreadsheet, and of course you could use the online version of Excel or Google Sheets. However, note that if you are using the online version, you do need to upload your document to the cloud before you can open your document. Something else to note is if you heavily depend on macros, you'll most likely need to rewrite them for the new tool that you're using. If you really like the way that Windows 10 is structured, for example, the menu button in the bottom left, your launch buttons next to that, your tray with all of the icons and the time, and even the little button in the corner, which when you click it minimizes everything. If you like that sort of layout, I would suggest that you consider using the KDE desktop environment. KDE looks very similar to Windows 10, and this will make your switch over to Linux feel very familiar right out of the box. Some good distros that use KDE by default include Kubuntu, which is just Ubuntu with a KDE flavor, Nabara project, which is quite strong in video editing and just general use, also for gaming, Bazzite, if you're a gamer, or perhaps KDE Neon, just to name a few. In conclusion, if you switch all the software that you use to cross-platform software wherever possible, before trying to switch to Linux, you'll be much more comfortable with the switch because the only moving part will be the operating system itself, as everything else you'll already be familiar with. By doing a little bit of preparation in advance, you'll be setting yourself up for success. You'll also be more likely not to return to Windows after a week. Thank you for watching. Please like if you found this video helpful and share. Thank you.